If I miss something, just keep shouting it out. Although I got to leave about 5 minutes now. Is there a way to use Gizmo 3D to array a mesh in a circle fashion like a minigun? Yeah, absolutely. That's a fun one. So array mesh is awesome. So in fact, you know what? Let's take this thing. So we go over here to, if you haven't used array mesh, check it out. It's totally cool. It's totally radical. So we can turn on array mesh, and this is just instances. Same thing as nano mesh, only with array mesh, what we can do is we can do a repeat of like maybe 16. And we can go, I want to rotate this thing in the X amount. We can like rotate our objects around this way, or the Y amount like this way. So we'll do Y amount of 360 full circle, and they'll rotate around this way. Now, you might be like, well, that doesn't really help me a whole bunch. I want it to be like arrayed around a circle like this. So all you need to do is go to the pivot here, and you can change where this pivot sets. Actually, let's hit Q here. Pivot, there we go. So we can change the pivot like this, and then it'll array that way. You can also go into transpose mode, and now when we hit W, we have a transpose line. And if you grab this little yellow one here, you can actually move that pivot on the fly. So you can kind of just adjust that exactly where you want that pivot to go. The cool thing about array mesh is because these are all instances, I can now go through and go, you know what? I want to slide, let's see, slide, edge loop, complete, and we're going to slide this edge loop over. And as I'm doing this, it's updating the other one. So now I can go in here to like split point, and we'll go ahead and split this point and go to the bottom here. Actually, that's right, that edge loop doesn't cut. Okay, let's do this instead. We're going to go to insert, single edge loop. We're going to put an edge loop right here in the middle, and now we can go to split point. We'll split this point here, and we'll split this point here. All we got to do is tap. It'll inherit that same split value. We can go to Q mesh, polygroup all. You just push that straight down, and now you can see all of my instances are updating here. Also, another feature, if I hit Control W, I'll make this all one polygroup, and then if I hit Make Mesh, it's going to make these all into one mesh. So now that they're all geometry. One feature of that, save. There we go. I should probably turn that off if I'm demoing. A feature of that is if I go over here and I make this all a polygroup. Now, if I start dragging and then let go, it'll just paint whatever that polygroup is. So now I can go over here, start alt dragging, and then paint. So if I have a polygroup on both sides, what it's going to do when I hit make mesh, it's going to bridge those. And the reason it's doing that is I have extrude on. And you're going to see when I hit make mesh and I bridge, it's going to skip this one. That's because I need to turn on close. So now you can use that as a feature as well if you want to have polygroups on two different sides to go ahead and arrange that for you. So, but if you don't, you can turn off close and extrude, and then when you make mesh, it'll completely just ignore that. You can also hit D for dynamic preview, and you kind of see what that's going to do. You can change your crease tolerance down, and now we can just manually go through here with our Z modeler brush, crease, edge, and we can just like alt tap these ones here just to kind of get the look we're kind of going for here, like so. So you can kind of modify these things on the fly, and because again, it is just instances, you can just modify this however you want. That's pretty cool. You can also stack these things, so we can go in here, we can append a new, and now we have a new stage. So for this one, what we can do is I'll hit transpose, and not just the pivot, but we can also use transpose to move this thing. So now we have another stage. Now we can move this thing over this way, and we can say, you know what, I want to do maybe 7 repeats of this thing. And while it's repeating, I can use move, I can hit E to scale, and now I can scale them up as they repeat. And I can rotate them, I can hit R, and I can rotate them as they repeat. Of course, I can hit W and kind of move these things out, and just kind of move these things around as well. And you can also do that over here. You can go move, scale, rotate, offset. All this stuff is kind of built into here as well. But you can just, and again, while this is all available to you, you're like, you know what? I want to actually make this a Dynamesh. So let's go ahead and just do a quick Dynamesh out of this mesh. Whoa. What did it do? Give me a second. Oh, there it goes. So we go to solo mode here. Now, when I did Dynamesh, it made these things really a lot heavier. So it's kind of slowed it down a little bit. Let's go ahead and Dynamesh with a slightly lower resolution here. You just got to be aware that when you're going through here, in fact, we can just turn array mesh off temporarily if we want to just kind of go in here and sculpt. Update, there we go. So we'll turn array mesh back on. And now if we just want to sculpt on these things, we can go through here. Oh, you know what? I still have dynamic turned on, that's why. So it's Dynameshing, and also if I go here to geometry, dynamics turned on, that's why it's really slowed down. So now we can go through here and we can use Dynamesh to sculpt on our object here, and it's just propagating out to all those different stages of our geometry here. We can also go, you know what, I don't want stage 2 anymore. Let's go ahead and delete that one. So now we just have stage 1 that we're kind of using as Dynamesh here. Now we can go to like brush, insert, body parts, and we can grab a hand, Put that hand on there, Dynamesh that together, and now we've got weirdo thing.